This is the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla in the new Full Battle Rattle studios.
He understands that Americans expect America to be great and to be strong in order for the world to be more peaceful and more safe, more secure. So very thankful that Trump is fulfilling a lot of the promises that he made.
Today, we think out of the box with Angela Box. The former teacher and current political contributor is here to talk about the lies that were thrown at her during her teaching tenure and weigh in on the president and more. We're excited to have the always unfiltered Angela Box on the show today. Plus, we'll have the latest national and Alaska headlines in Sarah Palin News. We'll visit the Crow's Nest with Tanya Crow in California, and a brand new installment of Liberty and Legacy with Tamara Colbert is coming up from Texas. Kelly Carlson is on assignment, no on target this week. Looking forward to Kelly's return. Welcome to the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio, available at mamagrizzlyradio.com and now available at sarahpalin.com by clicking the More tab. The Palin Update is sponsored by Full Battle Rattle. Full Battle Rattle, helping veterans suffering from combat-related disabilities through the healing power of music. Learn more at facebook.com/fullbattlerattle.abq. Today, Angela Box is here, a huge Palin supporter and a no-holds-barred political contributor who loves her country. We're so happy to have her here today. And now we welcome Angela to the program, the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. How are you?
I'm fabulous. Thank you so much for reaching out to me, darling.
Well, it is great to have you on, and for people who haven't checked out your writings yet, angelasoapbox.com. You got to go there. Great stuff to read, no holds barred, unfiltered, as Governor Palin would say, and we love to see that, and obviously a lot of things to talk about, but Angela, I want to talk about you first and your background. You made some headlines a few years ago. Tell us what your former profession was and how things turned out there.
Right. Well, I was a teacher. Well, first I was an actress out in L.A., but my problem with acting was I didn't really like the people or the industry. I was good at it, but I was like, oh, you people suck. Oh, you people suck. So I was an actress, and I kind of fell ass backwards into teaching. I was subbing out in LAUSD in like the Hood, Watts, South Central, all that. And then in 2009, the state kind of fell apart, as it is wont to do, because it's California, and California is awful. But I decided to move to Houston, where most of my family was at that point. I'm from Oklahoma City originally. Became a teacher, worked in some mostly inner city areas, right? So in, 14?
Yeah, 2014.
2014 in September, I started going, on my own time, I was doing this little blip on the radar screen YouTube show called Tommy's Garage, which literally no one knew about. And on my social media, I didn't say I was a teacher. I didn't say I was a teacher on the show, whatever. Well, allegedly, some, quote, parent or concerned person said, I can't believe, I know who that woman is, and she's a teacher, and yada, yada, yada. Well, I might have made a comment about how, when Ebola was all the rage, where I said, oh, can Ebola just take one for the team and take out Obama? Come on, Ebola. As a joke, clearly, because conservatives have sense of humor, liberals do not, unless, of course, they're mocking us. And then I might have called Muslim terrorists, goat effers, and boy effers. I might have said that. Because that week in New York, 2 police officers had been hatcheted by a radical Muslim. And, of course, the atrocities that ISIS was performing on little boys and little girls around the world. And Mossad had taped some ISIS terrorists actually humping some goats. So it was not without context, I would say. Anyway, it blew up. And then as I fondly call him now, our little local race hustler named Quanell X in Houston, he decides to put out a press release to the entire media in all the city of Houston. And mind you, my world had blown up already. But then when he got involved, he put a quote in this press release, and at the top it said, the new Black Panther Party and the new Black Muslims. And it was like, we're going to have a protest at our school. And I was like, oh, my God, this just got real. And he quoted me, a defamatory quote that I never said, that said, quote, Obama is the N-word and all black people are dumbasses for voting for him, end quote. To which I said, your first problem, Mr. X, is that you put quotations around that little statement, because I never said it. So I had no choice but to sue him for defamation. And finding a lawyer to take my case was extremely difficult because I didn't have money. I'm not wealthy, still not wealthy. And so I finally had to settle on two people that worked on contingency and kind of screwed up my case, frankly. It was thrown out, and I sort of started working in the political arena, which is where my heart is and where I love to be. And now I'm working for a political consultant, and we do races all over the country, mainly in Oklahoma, some in Delaware. We worked with Maria Espinoza of the Remembrance Project when she ran against our congressman out here, John Culberson. Anyway, so life is an amazing thing. God has his plan. I'm convinced of it. And, I've done some media here and there and, just keep plugging along. Well, in a nutshell, there you go, Kevin.
Yeah, well, so much to get into there, and it's typical, right, of the left. I mean, right away, the first reaction of anything is we must take their job. It's always about let's get this person fired, whether it's a media member. We've seen them do that so many times, whether it's a politician. Instead of changing the station, instead of voting them out, instead of saying, wait a minute, this is something a teacher's doing in her private life. No, we have to take everybody's job. And, I mean, and then they wonder why the people who were beat down for a decade were so happy about Donald Trump winning the presidency.
Right. Not only a decade, more like 40 years. And I do need to clarify that. It was kind of a forced resignation situation because the district took an entire week, and I know exactly what they were doing. They were calling through my social media to see, is there anything we can get on this woman to fire her? With cause, with prejudice, and the answer is no. So they had to come out and they had to say it publicly in the media saying the First Amendment issue. But by that point, it had become so untenable. I had kids pulled from my class, and my little ducklings, as I used to call them, were so great. They walked around the school without prompting. I would give them Post-its to put, if they had ideas about something, they all got a little Post-it pad, and they wrote on there, "We stand with Miss Box," and they wore those little Post-its around the entire school. I had teachers who the day before, black teachers we were friends, everything was fine. I mean, I was Hitler to them the day after this broke because what the defamation was is people still think I said that or that I've ever said that, and that's certainly not the case. But it's kind of like, I'm a conservative. I'm an outspoken conservative. I'm an ass kicker, and I'm not going to back down for you. And again, if you're a liberal, you get away with saying whatever the hell you want to say.
Right.
But a conservative does not.
And
screw that.
And that's the Alinsky tactics that we've seen with say anything. And then after a while, maybe that wasn't said. Well, too late now. You already have thousands upon thousands who believe that it was said, or at least the doubt is put in their mind, and they're shameless about this. We've seen this from people in very high positions, including the presidency, over the last few years. And, it's rough to look at, but as you say, people like you are fighting back, and people like them they don't know what to do with themselves with this situation when they run into someone like you, and it's great to watch that. So let me ask you this. It's a shame, really, isn't it? Because you look at the teaching profession. I just wrote a piece for SarahPalin.com about their union magazine that just their cover page was about the Women's March on Washington. So, zero bias there, right? And then you look at
some vaginas.
Yes. Exactly. They had the hats and everything. You look at my profession in broadcasting. You look at the other professions that we mentioned, acting. I mean, these are things where you said it great in the opening. You love the job, you like the craft, you were good at it, but the people are so unbearable, and they enjoy that because it's it's the my way or the highway, this mentality. And then at the very, very least, these people feel like they have to at least be apathetic or not say a word or be a far left supporter, and that's why I love when Governor Palin says to infiltrate pop culture and infiltrate those jobs that are being run by the full on board liberals. morals, because some conservatives used to think like, oh, we'll just ignore that whole thing. We won't deal with Hollywood or music or these careers or these avenues, and that's not the way to go. It's better to stand up to them and show them you can survive that way.
I agree. The odds are the David and Goliath discrepancy, though, especially in entertainment and in media, is so massive. I mean, all we can do is keep trying to chip away. I love Nick Searcy. He's one of our great outspoken conservatives. Gary Sinise, John Voight. But it's people like that. I mean, Sinise already had a career. Searcy, obviously. John Voight, clearly. Their risk level was small. It's the gaffer. It's the boom guy.
Yeah.
It's the makeup artist. It's the kid trying to get her SAG card. It's someone with an under 5, which is under 5 lines. It's all those people who feel like they have to shut up and they're not allowed to speak and they're not allowed to speak their opinions because they will quietly be blacklisted. I mean, I remember when I was out there, I was very open, a very out conservative. It was during Clinton. And I was told by producers, you lost this role because of your opinions. And this is a conservative producer, but he's not out. And he goes, you need to be very careful about who you tout. I go,
No.
No.
And I'm with you, Angela.
No.
I just had a conversation with someone the other day who has no problems with Trump, probably voted for him. You talk to him common sense wise, fine. And he proudly says, oh, I know how to play this. In other words, he has gotten rid of all of his values, all of his morals, does not stand up for anything because he figures, well, this is the paycheck and I have to play ball.
The thing is that it is. And I don't blame, I never, ever would tell someone, you must come on the soapbox with me and you must
right,
put your,
but you do
your
it
livelihood
as I
at
do
stake.
it.
Well, but what happened to me was a very unique situation. And I'm very fortunate that I was able to transition into media and to politics, which is where I want to be. But a lot of those people don't have that option and they have families to feed. So I get it. It's just there's got to be more of us to just slowly come out of the closet and just say we're not going to take this crap anymore. This country elected Donald Trump. They didn't elect Paul Ryan. They elected Donald Trump. We want the border. We want tax reform. We want Obamacare. Killed, murdered, destroyed. End of story. And we want it done yesterday. That's not Paul Ryan's agenda. That's the Trump agenda. And more people need to come out and be very forceful about that. And I'm hoping, when the media, if they finally give up on trying to destroy this man, which I don't think they will, but Trump, here's the beauty about Trump is he's got nothing to hide. I legitimately think he's done nothing wrong. So he's like, come at me. I wish you would. I wish you would. And I will continue. He's going to continue to fight back at these people. And at the end, it'll be a nothing burger. But sorry, I got off.
And remember, and this isn't just jobs you talk about, too. It's everyday life. You mentioned how the teachers who you were friends with then turned on you when these false quotes came out. I've had stories told to me just this year alone at my son's playground at a school. One mom said they were great friends with the neighbors next door. They put the Trump sign up, and they won't even say hello to them or the children anymore. Right. So we've seen this.
Tolerance.
Yeah, exactly. That is their tolerance. I want to direct people to your website again, angelasoapbox.com. Great stuff there to read. You got to check out her latest stuff ASAP. Angela, I want to talk to you about some of your writings and about a lot more. Would you join us again on the next show?
Absolutely, I would love to.
I really appreciate it. We don't do that a lot. I think it was David Limbaugh and Rob Maness, and maybe that's about it. We like to go one and done, but I knew we'd have a lot to talk, and I want to get your background out there first. But let's you join us again next time, okay?
Absolutely. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Angela. Be sure to check out Angela's writings at angelasoapbox.com. Now it's time for Sarah Palin News, headlines, and more about Governor Palin. Blessed to live in Alaska, where we can get all the fresh organic protein we want. Making a story where there isn't one. Sounds familiar. A Mom's March is planned. Sarah Palin will be there. Will you? Learn more at momsmarchusa.com. In Mississippi, our thoughts and prayers are with their families and all who put themselves in harm's way every day to protect our freedoms. Can't trust everything you see on the internet. Can't wait for Kid Rock. A great new gun safety book for kids. Prayers for Jimmy Carter. Patriots coach Bill Belichick proves once again that he is indeed a patriot. Huge news on Charlie Gard. The happiest of birthdays to Franklin Graham. Sarah Palin remembers her visit to a beautiful town, and now she's glad to see others are hearing the message, drill, baby, drill. Prayers for Senator McCain's recovery and health from his friends in Alaska. A first lady we can be proud of. And thank you, Governor Palin, for featuring my stories on The Sound of Music and the Corrupt Teachers Union. To read about all of these stories, you can visit the Mama Grizzly Radio Facebook page. To see any of the governor's posts in their entirety and to read her devotionals, visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page. Follow her on Twitter at Sarah Palin USA, and don't miss the new sarahpalin.com. Now let's head to the crow's nest. Here's Tanya Crow.
Thanks, Kevin. So here we are. Gosh, so much news, so much going on in the world. And I am totally bewildered by why it is that the agenda of our government is driven by the liberals, is driven by the left. I mean, here we are with an opportunity, the GOP, the Republicans, to take back the reins and start driving the direction of this country, just like President Trump did for us as a candidate and now in the White House, wanting to inspire and reconnect us to our roots and what makes this country so powerful, which is the ability to exercise the true liberties that we have in this world, that we have in this country, to make the lives that we want to make, to promote strength and ability to build on what they have, and where we can return back to the pride and the wonderful aspects of ownership and find what it is that gets us to our next levels, that gets us to strive, to dream, to be the best that we can be, to do our personal best. My daughter is in first grade, or just graduated, and she's going into second grade. And one of the key elements of her class for this year was their personal best. And I really loved that, because so much of the time as a society, we compare ourselves to other people, to, anything outside of ourselves, really. And it's so important as a competitor, as somebody that is, life is a competition in a sense. It's tough out there. There's a lot of things that are obstacles, and putting food on the table and maintaining values and being proactive. And it's so important to, in the end, to look to ourselves to determine what is our personal best. And I just felt like this week I needed to kind of give myself a pep talk, just wanting to find for myself a renewed strength and a renewed will to keep going, to fight the good fight. And I wish you all a fantastic week. This is Tanya Crow with Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tanya Crow on Mama Grizzly Radio. More from the Crow's Nest next week.
Now, the Palin Update with Kevin Scholla presents Liberty and Legacy. Here's Tamara Colbert.
A national grassroots survey by the Convention of States Project this week gave voice to thousands of activists who say lasting change to help America get on the right track can only come with a seismic shift at the federal level. This ire at the local level grows as the grassroots blame the political establishment and the media for blocking President Trump. And the frustration of inaction to keep the number one campaign promise for every Republican since 2010, which is a full repeal of Obamacare, continues. Why aren't federal legislators taking the people's desires seriously? Why isn't there a sense of urgency with revamping the progressive tax system and cutting corporate taxes? Why can't the Congress multitask, for Pete's sake? Almost half of respondents, 47% of those surveyed have joined the Convention of States movement within the past year, showing the growing number of citizens that are angry with elected officials in Washington even since Trump got elected, because they want to rein in DC's power. They want to return it back to the states and back to you and me, the people. Many of the Convention of States volunteers have just joined, but out of those who took the survey, 64% have been involved in politics at some capacity in the past. These are hardworking Americans willing to put in sweat equity by calling voters, canvassing neighborhoods, urging their fellow citizens to become more active in the civic work of their communities and nation. And these aren't snowflakes and couch potatoes and people who need puppy dogs and coloring books to survive truth and reality. Among these activists, there's a conflict over whether they believe President Trump can succeed or whether Republicans and Democrats will continue to thwart his efforts. 51% of those surveyed believe that Congress will continue to block President Trump. Can you believe this? Who controls the House and the Senate? Republicans. Let's digest this for just a second. More than half of respondents, 51%, of over 3,000 people who took the survey believe that Republicans will continue to block President Trump, the Republican president's intended policies and wishes manifested by the American voter. The GOP should be ashamed of themselves. How do these wimps and wusses stand up and look at themselves in the mirror every day thinking they're doing a great job? I'm sorry, they're terrible. They're ridiculous. It's so frustrating. When asked on whom our activists place the blame for this inability to accomplish anything in Washington, most agreed the political establishment, followed closely by the media. Activists were asked what attracts them to the Convention of States project, and a similar suspicion of the government is clearly shown. I'm going to give you the top four. Number one, Congress will never propose the proper kind of amendments to restrain itself. Number two, returning decision-making closer to the citizens of the sovereign states is important. Number three, the solution in Article 5 that bypasses the Congress and the courts is from we the people. And number four, this is a permanent solution, this being the Convention of States project and using Article 5 of the Constitution is a permanent solution to draining the swamp no matter who controls Washington in the future. The question that the Convention of States project is continually asking is who decides. Should a corrupt, abusive, neutered Congress relinquishing its duty to the President, Supreme Court, and unelected bureaucrats, is that who should decide for you? Or should you and I decide the nation that we want and what we want to be free and self-governing? There's nothing more important than all of us, regardless of where we are, uniting to get our business done during the Trump administration. We have just under 4 years to do this. And it's not because I don't believe Trump can't win another term. It's because the lying, cheating Alinsky followers of those progressives in this nation are going to do everything they can to cheat and steal the 2020 election from us. They're so flabbergasted that Trump won that they now are desperate, and they are going to pull out all the stops to try to do anything they can to continue their tirade, their temper tantrum. This week, several George Soros organizations filed lawsuits to stop the administration's goal of getting dead people off the voter rolls. Of course, because Democrats love dead Democrats that continue to vote. So why would they support ensuring free and fair elections and clearing the voter rolls once and for all of dead people? oh, these Democrats, I just can't take it. I am a tiny microcosm of the frustration, exactly what we heard from our grassroots over the last week. The American people are smarter, more educated, and politically savvy than ever before. This survey, another survey, says that just 9% of Republicans in the nation think the Trump team colluded with Russia. And that's down by 50% because in April it was 18% of Republicans thought that there was no collusion with Russia. Where is the GOP leadership on this? Why isn't someone standing up saying there is no conspiracy, there is no evidence, we're done talking about this, and we are now going to tackle the business of the American people? Where is Paul Ryan? Where is Mitch McConnell? Oh, the thumbsuckers. I can't hardly stand it. We've got crickets from Washington, but the American people thankfully know exactly what time it is. It is time for feckless Republicans and corrupt Democrats to be gone. Pink slips for all of them. Thank goodness 2018 is coming. And I don't think that Democrats fully understand what a real bloodbath is going to look like. But we are going to turn more states red in the next 18 months than we've ever had because we, the people, will not stay silent any longer. And for that, I am very excited. Tweet me this week at Tamara Colbert, hashtag Mama Grizz Radio. Thank you for listening. You have time. You are busy. And Mama Grizzly Radio, we thank you for your support. Have a blessed week. I'm Tamara Colbert for Mama Grizzly Radio.
Tamara Colbert in Texas. Tune in for more Liberty and Legacy next week. And to learn about Convention of States, head to conventionofstates.com. The Palin Update, including Liberty and Legacy, On Target, and The Crow's Nest is on demand and available for download, so just head to mamagrizzlyradio.com, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of The Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Visit mamagrizzlyradio.com for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also available at sarahpalin.com by clicking the More tab. Like Mama Grizzly Radio on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Mama Grizz Radio, at Kevin Scholla, at Tamara Colbert, at Tanya Yoga 13, and at FBR ABQ. And I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News. Go to breitbart.com/columnists/Kevin-Scholla. I'm also contributing to sarahpalin.com. Please check out my latest piece this week. Visit sarahpalin.com/author/Kevin-Scholla. Honored to be working on the governor's new site. I want to thank Tamara Colbert, Tanya Crow, and everyone here at Mama Grizzly Radio. Thanks to Angela Box, and thank you for listening today. A special thanks to our sponsor, Full Battle Rattle. Visit facebook.com/FullBattleRattleABQ. The Palin Update is produced by Lena Anderson, the Andy L. Kramer, and Lori Ann Lewis. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.